In this presentation, you will learn about R.K. Merton as a functionalist. Robert King Merton was an American sociologist who sought to correct the flaws in functionalism as proposed by its founders, Durkheim, Radcliffe Brown, and Malinowski. Along with Talcott Parsons, he is one of the two major American sociologists who dominated the functionalist theory scenario around the middle of the 20th century. He started with the etymological connotations of function, then separated the pertinent and contextual interpretations of the term used by early sociologists. In this context, function refers to a vital or biological activity examined in terms of how it contributes to the organism's preservation. This definition explains how it has been utilized in biology. Early sociologists, Durkheim and Radcliffe Brown, accepted this term with changes suitable to the study of human society and so clarified the crucial idea, function. Radcliffe Brown, according to Merton, has been the most clear in attributing the working perspectives in sociology idea of social function to the biological analogical model. Durkheim also mentioned vital organic processes and the organism's necessity. Naturally, Radcliffe Brown went on to explain the purpose of any recurring action, the role it plays in social life as a whole, and the contribution it contributes to the preservation of structural continuity. All of this, however, was predicted on a comparison between a social organism and its constituent pieces. The claim was also made against early theorists' functionalism that functionalism solely considers maintenance, that is, stability, and that there was no space for understanding change, and that the notion was only applied to simpler civilizations. In his reformulation or refinement of the concept of function, Merton addressed these constraints. He defines function as those observed outcomes that lead to the adaptation or adjustment of a particular system. Merton believed that the old definition of function, which stated that functions are those observed outcomes that provide for the adaptation or modification of a particular system, had flaws. According to him, the term has a propensity to focus on an item's beneficial contribution to the social or cultural system in which it is embedded. However, he claims that some social or cultural elements make contributions that over time result in the opposite. That is, they constitute a barrier or hindrance to adaptation or adjustment. He established the alternative idea of dysfunction in response to this possibility. He defines dysfunctions as those observed effects that reduce a specific system's ability to adapt or adjust, as well as the empirical potential of non-functional consequences that are simply irrelevant to the system in question. Using the terms manifest functions and latent functions, he further expands on the concept of function to include obvious and concealed implications. It is not only a logical possibility or utopia, but it has been proven to be true in empirical instances as well. Merton was convinced of this truth and confirmed the function of certain social structures, norms, and traditions. This basic formulation can be used to investigate the concept of function as it was proposed by earlier functionalists. He was a keen observer of the changes that were taking place in Western civilizations in general and in American society in particular during his lifetime. The prior concept of function, as advocated by Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski, believed that there was no stress or conflict in society, but stress or conflict was a significant feature in social life in complex societies of his times. Changes of any type, let alone changes in the functions of social institutions or social products, are indicated by stress. He has studied the older formulation, which he dubbed prevailing postulates of functional analysis in light of these arguments. The function of a particular usage is the contribution it makes to the whole social life as the functioning of the total social system, writes Radcliffe Brown when defining and applying the idea of function. This notion, according to Merton, indicates that the social system has a particular form of unity, which he refers to as functional unity. He defines functional unity as a state in which all elements of a social system work in harmony and with internal consistency. This viewpoint may be correct when considering small, closely interwoven primitive tribes, but not when considering highly varied, sophisticated societies with enormous realms. By tracing many cases, Merton explores functionalism's postulate of functional unity. This complete society's oneness cannot be predicted on observation. In order to do a functional analysis, the item must be specified in terms of units for which it is functional. Because a given item may have some functional repercussions while also having some dysfunctional ones, we cannot always assume full integration of all cultures. Merton looks at the second postulate of universal functionalism, which is derived or codified from Malinowski's views. According to Malinowski, the functional perspective of culture emphasizes that every custom, material object, idea, or religion plays some vital function in every sort of civilization. This, according to Merton, may be the case in small, illiterate civilizations. The concept of survival and function of every cultural piece was exaggerated by functionalists. Because social things have functions and dysfunctions, the net balance of consequences is what remains. As a result, he contends that the assumption must be based on the net balance of effects in complex societies. He returns to the third formulation, that is, the third postulate, which codifies Malinowski's prior statement highlighting the importance of word vital. Following the assumption, he uses religion as an example of something that is absolutely necessary in society. According to Malinowski's functional indispensability, maintaining integration is the society's indispensable requirement, not the institution, because the same need can be met by various social institutions in complex and varied societies. Over the assumption of functional indispensability, Merton proposes the concept of functional alternatives, equivalents, and substitutes. Merton collected and simplified all of these concerns, analysis, and reformations in a collection of points or issues he called the paradigm for functional analysis in sociology. All of these phrases, concepts, and the ability of using them in empirical research in complex societies are contained in his paradigm. This paradigm is made up of 11 points ranging from function principles through application and understanding of change in system elements. In his landmark book, Social Theory and Social Structure, he presents his theories in detail. I hope you now have a better understanding of Merton's functionalism. Thank you for watching the presentation. Do like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments about this presentation or any other topics you would like to learn more about.